bring you Ben Nicholson, Framework Board member, as well as a member of our Education Committee and one of the inspirations for our new talent list. His presentation, Are You Experienced? 200 Easy Steps to Becoming and Finding the Next Great Industry Talent. Sounds easy, right? I give you Ben. Thank you.
Hello. All right. I'm going to just mix it up a little bit because I think we've all been here for a while. And so I went to this slide that's way down in my presentation, and I think we're going to start out with it real quick. How many people here are educators or have taught adjunct or high school or anything consistent? Yes? Yes. Where have you taught? Just once. Okay, so you've been there, right? Yes. All right, yes. Shout. Go ahead, say it. Yeah. FIT. Okay, great. So one of the things that I like to say is that we all can be teachers. I teach at a university in Ohio called Miami University, and I didn't think I could teach because I was a creative director and did all sorts of things that we all know and love, right? So I'm just going to demo something to get us going a little bit. Part of this is also we're all friends, and also just getting in touch a little bit with sincerity. Like sometimes we go to these things and we want to be cool, and it's like, you know what, I'm too old to be cool anymore, right? So the easiest form of teaching is this. Easiest form of teaching, watch me, do what I do, and then do it when I'm not there, right? So who wants to be my substitute teacher? I want to say Michael is going to be my substitute teacher, right? Michael, stand up, please. Okay, great. Now, it's very important, Michael, to do your job that you have to do exactly as I say, even when I'm not here, right? Okay, so ready? Follow me. And then you're going to just keep doing that over and over again. Now I'm going to pretend to leave, and then all these other people are going to do what I taught you how to do. Ready? Ready? Go. I'm testing you to see if you can get them to move without even talking. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to judge you based on the fact if they're doing it accurately and as a group. I think Michael's going to be really good at this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's pretty good, Michael. You're a teacher. There you go. Great, okay. All right, now I have to reverse my slides because I wasn't going to do this, so everybody close your eyes. Don't look, don't look, don't look. Oh, God, this is long. Okay, hold on a second. All right, here we are. Okay, so the title of my slideshow here is Are You Experienced? And or 200 Easy Steps to Becoming and Finding the Next Great Industry Talent. That was meant to be ironic and interesting all at the same time. You've sat here, so either you're waiting for happy hour or you're interested in the 200 easy steps that I have in store for you today. By the way, the bar apparently opens when I'm done. When I'm done. When I'm done. Yeah, but I'm going to distill this a little bit. So there's a couple things you're going to find out. It's like, hey, you could be a teacher too. What does it mean to be a teacher? But also, what does it mean to be a talent, and what does it mean to pass that information on out in industry, right? So I'll try to keep you a little bit on your toes. Be prepared to interact with me. Otherwise, I'll be extremely disappointed. Thank you, Michael. Okay, so anybody know who this is behind there? Say it loud. Okay, what is Jimi Hendrix famous for? What? Say, there's one, playing left-handed. What else? He burned his guitar, being badass. Yeah, great. What else? It has to do with being left-handed. Sort of, maybe. Sort of, maybe, yes. There it is. I just figured this out. So if you look at right there, he's actually, the legend is he played upside down backwards. It's actually he played left-handed with a right-handed guitar, and he strung his guitar backwards. So the shortest string is actually meant where the long, or the, is it the, here, help me out, musician. Pickup's reversed. So there's like no way to really play the way he did. unless you follow what he did. What you also know about him is his dad was super, super into him becoming a musician, super into it. Also, culturally, being left-handed had this weird kind of mojo stank on it. Like if you were left-handed, you might be from the devil or like a deviant, right? So his dad would stop him from doing that, and then he felt more comfortable because he was ambidextrous. He actually, I think he wrote with his right, played this way. And so there's this really interesting mix that I find with students sometimes where there's a condition in their life or a circumstance that they come from that actually turns genius as a corner. And there's also involved with this, he didn't just wake up one day and be like, I'm gonna be a great guitar player. Actually, it was his dad that was like, you're gonna be a great guitar player. So somebody was teaching him those things. So just a little thing to keep in mind. Okay, so who am I, why am I here? Laura gave me a bit of an introduction. I'm not checking my time. I'm actually trying to advance my slides with my phone, which is kind of working. Okay, so, who am I, why am I here? I'm on the board, we'll get into that. But what I want to talk about this is where I have biases. And this is a really interesting concept to me as an educator and somebody who's interacting with people at different phases in their life, is that I have a great lawyer. His name's Brock. He's like my person. He's like my buddy, kind of. Like, if your lawyer's your buddy, I think that might be a good thing. But I was talking to him once, and I was asking him a question about a contract, and he said, Ben, first I need to tell you my biases before I advise you. And I was like, what? What's that mean? And he's like, well, if you're going to weigh what I'm about to say, you need to understand that I have opinions that are either internalized or externalized that may influence what I'm about to say. I'm like, whoa, okay. So for me, part of who I am really exposes my biases as an instructor, as somebody that you might run into every day, because my experiences, like it or not, color how I talk to you, right? How I interact with you, how I may advise you, right? So that's something that I like to do with my students, is that make them aware, kind of like where I come from. Okay, so here's what I'm not. I'm not an abstract modernist. Art fans, if you've been to the Tate, there's a painting there by a guy named Ben Nicholson. That's it. That's not me, but that's me with the painting that I never made. This is him, that guy right there, like 1912 or something like that. Okay, so what am I? I'm an animator by training. So I started in motion design, After Effects, Cinema 4D, all of the things a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. There was a place called Fuel down on Pico in Maine. And I got my first job there because the first engineer that they had, or their technical guy, had a nervous breakdown and moved to a yurt in the middle of Montana the day before I walked in. And the guy said to me, can you fix Macs? And I was like, well, I can fix my girlfriend's computer. He's like, great, you're hired. That was literally it. And that's how I got into motion design. I started learning After Effects in the middle of that. I'm a creative director by ego, so anybody who has seen the creative directors in the business that we delve in, if you've been around and been an animator, you're like, I want to be that guy. He gets to come in and go, make everything pink, and then walks out. And that, as a young person, seemed really attractive. As an older person, that seems super annoying. So I'm a producer by necessity. I started a business, and then I had to figure out how to do an Excel spreadsheet. And now I'm kind of good at it, which is really weird. Laura's laughing. Yes, we're good at spreadsheets. I'm a consultant by experience, so like my life has made me valuable to people that want me to help them fix things or that want my advice, and I get paid to do it. I'm a teacher by accident. We'll get into that in a second. But I want you to know that I'm willing, and I might not be the best, and that's okay, but I'll work hard, right? So I loved basketball, right, when I was in high school. I was 6'2" when I was in 6th grade. Not a good combo if you want to be great at sports, right? But what I determined is, like, I'm just going to do this the hardest possible. And that's kind of how I got into the business we're in, is I just worked really hard, and I wasn't necessarily the best. Okay, here's things I don't like. Keyframing, rendering, or doing anything that's normal on a screen. Hence why we're all together, right? I think there's some people in here that don't like keyframing and they don't like watching render bars. I determined a long time ago that if I've seen too many render bars and had too many conversations with my wife where she goes, is it done rendering yet? I'm like, I don't know. Okay, well, will you be home in the morning? I don't know. But now, through the magic of science, I don't have to render some days. And I think that's amazing. So I like those things. This is like my very professional CV title card. I'm assistant teaching professor at Miami University in the Department of Emerging Technology and Business and Design. That's really long, or ETBD for short, which kind of sounds like some sort of disorder, but I didn't market it. I'm an MFA candidate at the Lighting Design and Technology division at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music, and I'm a creative producer, experience director, and a framework board member. These are some of my more, I don't know, I guess proud moments of my professional career was producing screen content for YouTube for 2 tours, and running the teams there with some friends, a guy named Sam Pattinson who runs a place in London called Treatment, and also a bunch of stuff that I did while I worked at Lightborn. So I know Ryan, and that's how I met JT in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we did all sorts of fun things at the beginnings of media servers. Like Mbox was awesome and new and huge, and then D3 came along and you could projection map a car. And so I've been with you, around you in this field, kind of developing these tools. I don't know how they work all the time. Like sometimes I have to like call JT or something and be like, what do you do with this thing that I don't know what it's called? And then he tells me what it is, right? It's worth noting that JT might have banned me from touching power strips at on-sites. Like, so it's really scary that I actually kind of know what I'm doing now, which is a miracle in itself. Okay, some other stuff, right? Okay, Framework Board of Directors, I put this picture up here because some of them are here, and you should see them and go, oh wait, you're on the Board of Directors. They're around, most of them are here, some of them are not, but all of these people do this not because they get paid, but because they believe that this is worth something that's worth giving their time to. Okay, let's start here. Miami University. It's not in Florida. It's actually 90 minutes on a bad day, 50 minutes north of Cincinnati, Ohio. If you go to Cincinnati, Ohio, you have to fly into the Northern Kentucky International Airport, which makes absolutely no sense if you've never been there, and you cross the bridge, and then you go to Cincinnati, and then you drive north. And it's here. It's idyllic. It's beautiful. It was supposed to be where they filmed Animal House, but they wouldn't let them. It's because it looks like college. Like I teach at a college that looks like a college. I was tricked. I mean, kind of I was tricked. I was tricked because I was like, I need to spend more time at home. I really value my family. I got 3 teenagers I want to be around. I can't run a company and go all over the place and do on-sites. And I was like, I'll just go there and, you know, teach a class on creativity or something that has nothing to do with like plugging computers in and watching render bars, and because they don't really teach that there. Suddenly I realized that the students actually learned what I knew how to do, and they're like, why don't you teach that? Or my colleagues were like, why don't you teach that? Why don't you show them how to do that? We could do that here. And I was like, I don't know, we can do it here. It's in Oxford, Ohio. And they're like, no, you should try to do that. So we made kind of an audacious plan for a track of classes. These are an example of them. I won't go into huge detail, but it basically takes you from how do you edit all the way to a stage like this. And it does it and tries to do it in 4 classes. Believe it or not, we tried to do it in 2, and all the students almost died. So I do like there's Touch Designer, Notch, and Breaking Unreal. So everything that we do in an interactive immersive tool basically just makes Unreal break. So I like that. Here's some stuff we've been doing out outside. We've been doing projection mapping on architecture. Some Touch Designer stuff. We do projection mapping every year in this big chapel there. That's a Touch Designer there being used. We do projection mapping on buildings. We have some Daft Punk fans, even though they're younger, they listen to Daft Punk. It's amazing. Actually, the student who delivered this just delivered it, and we put it into the media server, and I was like, you listen to Daft Punk? And it's like, all the time. I'm like, great, that's great. Keep listening to Daft Punk. We do projection mapping. We do some other fun projects around the city. This is on a video blade system on the stadium there. And then we'll talk about this little setup in a second, but we have a little playground that's very modest, and we do Touch Designer. Look, it's a frustum. Okay, so here I am, standing in this gap of industry people and students, and I'm trying to make connections because I know I'll get phone calls from people and they go, do you have any good people? I can remember getting a phone call like at the beginning of the, I would say, virtual production craze from somebody that we all know and love, and it was like, do you have anybody that owns Unreal? And I was like, yeah, but they haven't graduated from school. It's like, I don't care. I'm like, well, okay, and here's their name and their number. It's kind of calmed down a little bit, but that was kind of this beginning of connections. And students who are like, I want to be relevant and I want to be qualified. In my department, it was actually started as a web design thing during the dot-com boom, and then transitioned to UI UX. And now they have a games program, and I teach alongside students that are designing video games, going, hey, you know what else you can do? You can do this with what you can do with your video game engines. And it seems to be working pretty good. Oh, let's see, have I talked for 5 minutes? No, longer. All right. Warning, this presentation contains hyperbolic exhortation. I made that up. I put those two words together, but I thought it was pretty clever. So meaning hyperbolic may or may not be true. I might have inflated it a little bit, hot air. And exhortation meaning I want to get you interested and moving, right? It's not a dissertation or a paper. I'm not smart enough to do that. I'm not really a professor, but I play one at a university. So it's a reminder of sorts. Okay, so here's the struggle. I need people, like that phone call. And then the students are like, or people who want to relearn out there, I need a job. I need people. I need a job. Okay. I'm as part of my consulting, I also do recruitment, so I'm interviewing lots of people. And so I watch and read resumes and see how they're qualified or unqualified, and how the expectations of employers can sometimes be unrealistic. I'm kind of a people person, so it's hard for me to admit that like people have unrealistic expectations, but they do too, right? So there's a journey. That's my son Ezra, by the way, eating a sandwich. There's the student or the seeker, and they want to go over there where the employer is, right? Somewhere yonder, and it's basically reversed. And the employer is like, are there any good people? Do you know any good people? And these positions can be, I'm going to say, typified by something like this, right? Can I have it my way? I want great pay, benefits, positive work environment, lots of vacation. It must be an outlet for my creativity and my total personality. Definitely I need unlimited upward mobility. Can I bring my pet iguana? I've chosen iguana because I didn't want to offend the dog or cat people, right? Like, so I figured iguana's safe, but it might happen, right? Somebody that wants to bring their iguana to work, might happen. Employers, well, future employee, I need a mature, well-trained person now. It must be hardworking with zero drama. Definitely zero drag. When I say drag, I mean no personal responsibilities and get on an airplane in 5 minutes and fly to Hong Kong. That's what I mean, kind of thing. No drag. FYI, we have no training program, an anemic org structure, very limited budgets, and by the way, production is super hard and will break you in half. Have you seen the ping pong table? Now I say ping pong table because there's a cool factor, right? It's like, but we're cool, we can be cool. Right? And are they really saying they want a robot or they want a person? So in this, we have this experience gap. And this is Red River Gorge in Kentucky. If you've never been, you should go. It's like the Grand Canyon with trees. It's not perfectly mirrored. I did that to illustrate the point. All right, so the employer is over there. The student worker is over here. In this gap, there's things that are missing or things that we want, right? And in that gap, there's massive problems. And there's massive opportunities. We've heard from some of them today about what those possibly could be. But in that gap, someone has to step in and provide the training. Right now, the current environment, I would say, there are exceptions, some of them are here, I'm going to mention them in a second, that corporations aren't super interested in robust training programs. It doesn't show up on the bottom line, right? Individuals want a way to get trained, but they also want it to feel, quote unquote, real, right? All right, so we need education and time to get across this gap. Like if I can't get there, I need tools. I'm going to go that direction. All right, so traditionally, there's been ways to get those tools to get the experience that you want, right? Apprenticeship. Does anybody understand how an apprenticeship works? Just shout it out. Yes, say it. What's an apprenticeship? I thought it was free too. Wrong. It's supposed to be in medieval times. I could, so they see those kids down there? Their parents are there. I think they're about to drop them off at the blacksmith shop and go, hey, teach my kid how to become a blacksmith. And they would pay the blacksmith money to teach them how to do their thing, because the blacksmith's like, you know what, me and Bob here got a pretty good rhythm going on, banging on this piece of metal, so it's gonna slow us down. And they're like, great, here's $30,000. We'll take care of it. And they go away. I think that's actually kind of cool. I mean, I think parents should give me $150,000, and I'll turn their person into a fully realized human in about 4 years. Maybe they ought to pay me a little bit more. All right, training programs, certifications, NASA's classic, right? Because this is deep, it's new, it's hard, it's dangerous, and they go, we better make a training program where we can spin guys around in a centrifuge and make sure they can actually do this job. I don't think they're outsourcing that. Veterans earn while you can on the job training. That's a thing in a market which generally has a lot of labor that needs retraining, because a certain division wants a type of worker that's not really available or trained for that job. YouTubes. Thank God for YouTubes, or I would be screwed as a teacher. Okay, so, this is our buddy. I don't think he would mind us, Mark Rober, if you don't know who it is. If Mark Rober's so cute, smart, free, and prolific, why the F am I standing in front of my class right now? That's a good question. I have a lot of students. I've had a couple students that will learn how to do cinema online on YouTube, and they come in and destroy the planet. I'm like, oh my God, what can I do for you? Unfortunately, they don't show up to class on time, so I'm like, you probably need to learn how to work ethic, right? Technical school, I'm a huge fan of technical school. My son, actually, my daughter's a fine arts major as a painting major in college. My son actually just graduated from technical school as a diesel mechanic because he loves working with his hands and he likes machines. And he was like, I just want to do that. I want to work on machines. I'm like, great, go do that. So he went to technical school. He has a great job fixing stuff all day long. Most of the time, that can be a 2-year program. It can actually go all the way down to high school, too. So I think there's something there with technical school. I think Mike Rowe's right about it, actually, that I think our nation could use to have a large majority of people just go learn how to do something to make a living. I teach here, the field of dreams. Look at that. It's like, I can't wait to give this place my money so that my kid can go to school there. It's amazing. It's beautiful. There's beautiful people. There's kind people like me that teach there, right? Oh, how much do I have? I'm running low. It's probably, when we see what's filling in the gap, we in the tech industry have relied on this 4-year college model for a long time to bring up that water line of training, right? It's filled in the gap in the high-end jobs. It's not going to stay around. I can tell you that. It's too expensive. People can't afford it. Enrollment is going down. Pandemic taught us a lot of important things about this that I think we're just beginning to realize. Maybe it will have a revival, but the university system is hurting for money and net new revenue. College is not efficient. Okay, can you see what's going on here? This is an actual projection-mapped marriage proposal. I saw it happen. So the young man to the left wanted to propose to the young woman on the right, who's one of my students, and she's been in my classes. She's now graduated from the beginning. She's like, I love projection mapping. I want to go do all the tech things. I love everything about this. I love Touch Designer. And her boyfriend knew nothing about any of these things, and he called us up one day, and he's like, hey, I want to propose using all that stuff on the side of a building. And we're like, okay. So shenanigans ensued, and she said, yes, I think those are tears of joy, right? But that's not efficient. They're in the way of our project, right? Like, they're in the way of our project. But that's what happens at college. It's like, what do you think the math is? For me, it was like, I don't know, 30% of the time I was doing something that was valuable. I was learning how to be a human, maybe being too angry, I don't know. 50% of that time, could it be shortened if we were really training people? All right, and we got college in crisis. And I mean that in a good way, which is, well, not a good way, but a pretty consistent way. College has always been in crisis. And I say it's a super efficient, they wants to be a super efficient equiper of surrogate for the industry training and also being centers of genuine intellectual thought and research. I vacillate on what this is supposed to be. I just want to train people and get them out there in the job market. And then my friend Garrison, who's like a super smart prof guy, he actually wears like elbow pad things on his coat, and he's like, these are places where people just need to get together and think about problems that you don't have to come up with a result, Ben. And like I used to argue with him, I'm like, I think he's kind of right. I think there actually needs to be places where people think about big problems like dark matter, right? Like plowing the dark of things. These are some interesting stats from Gallup. What you'll notice here, if you scan it very quickly, is people want a good job or a career in college or to go to grad school. 72% are doing that to advance their career. In grad school, it says, according to Gallup, 18% are there just to learn. So what that tells me is there's a little bit of something going on there that isn't just about raw learning. They want some sort of validation of their skill that they can show somebody as an employer. Here's the concern. I'm concerned that there could be a myth happening that's being exploited through the validity of institution colleges or others. Not to mention, I'm 100% certain industry does not value the degree like they used to. When I look at people's resumes, and I go through hundreds of them, do you know how often I look at where they went to college? Maybe 1 out of 300, right? It's top line. Where have you worked? What have you done? Where are your skills? And if I'm going through them quickly. That's just honest. This also keeps me up at night, because when I go into my classroom, I'm looking at people, I'm going like, this person's paying $1,500, I've calculated this, to sit in my class for a semester. Shoot, I better do something that's meaningful here and not just like read something or do a lecture, right? I might want to be a little entertaining. I wasn't talking about entertainment, I was talking about meaning, right? Like, what do you want to do? All right, so cost, someone has to pay it, someone always does. There's no getting around this. If students are paying $150,000 for a 4-year education and they're not getting what they want out of it, right? They're eating that cost and they're going into debt. They're going into job markets where they may not be trained, and that employer is going to have to do the training that they want anyway. So there's something going on here in this gap. This is an obvious thing. The other nice thing about being a college teacher is you can say things like this, like, hey guys, time equals money. I feel like, boom, wow. And there's something about about sincerity that I love about college students, because I forget it and I'll get jaded, and then I won't say things that I think they need to hear. Without investment, this personal highway is collapsing. Great. I added this morning, because you could say, there's not as much urgency because of all these strikes and the industry is panicking and I don't know what. I think now's the time we got to figure it out. Like, if you're trying to get yourself retrained, now's the time to do it, right? And if you want to learn something new, now's the time to do it, because it's going to come back, and if you don't figure it out now, we're going to pay the price later. If we don't have enough virtual production people that are in the top 5%, or XR people, or great technical EICs now, sitting on it isn't going to help, right? I say there's like, a 5% of people who are rock star level, and then there's a big gap in the medium, right? And we've got to get into that. Okay, with this, there's 2 things that are sort of free. One is passion. Does anybody know what that is or could look like? Not going to stop Michael if he was going to answer. Passion fruit, no. Actually, it's a fruit of passion, right? This is a homemade version of an OP1 from Teenage Engineering. And I was like, what? This guy showed up at my house, had graduated from high school, sat down at my dinner table. We had just met him. And I was like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I like to make circuits. I was like, what do you mean you like to make circuits? Well, I made this once in my pocket. And I was like, I don't even understand what's happening right now. He's like, I work at a place that makes UPC backup systems up in Forest Park. I'm like, okay. And I started talking to him more, and I was like, do you like musical instruments? Because my kids like musical instruments. And he said, oh yeah, those OP1s are too expensive, so I'm making my own. I was like, it's in my car. He goes and pulls this sucker out, and I was like, why is yours different? And I don't know that much about music, but I guess it's a big deal how many notes of polyphony you can do on a synth. He's like, this one's going to do 12. The teenage engineering one can only do 6. I was like, you're crazy in a great way, and I love you. But he's putting this passion. He doesn't do this. He's not in high school. They don't teach him this. He's doing this himself. Okay, let me tell you a story about the giving of time. It involves some people around here and people that will be here tomorrow. Does anybody know what this is? Yell it. Yeah, rear projection, immersive cube built in like 2005, right? This is stashed in a room on the floor of the university I teach at. This is old tracking, like the little white balls and things like that, where you could do motion tracking on it. It had like 3K projectors, rear projecting on these things, and it was dark. Also, the times were dark. This is like right at COVID, and when I sort of poked at this thing. And there were students that needed a capstone experience, which if you don't know what that is, it's to partner with industry to learn skills and like kind of work on the job. They have to engage with them and build something. And I was like, well, this is kind of like that stuff that those guys that are doing virtual production is, except it's like not, it was actually square. And so I got a bunch of students and we pushed it out. And then I actually called JT, who is, they were starting up XR studios, and I was like, what do you guys think about doing a capstone experience during COVID, which a bunch of students in Ohio? And he was like, sounds great. I'm paraphrasing. But a bunch of people got involved. People like Scott Miller, and I'll list some other ones in a minute. And an old thing was brought back to life. So we hooked up some computers that we had in the lab to the back of it. We actually wrestled end display when it sucked more than it does right now, which I don't even know what they did to make end display work at that time over a network, but it happened. They actually made an extended, they did a XR across the top. That's a notch file back there. We got Touch Designer running it on there too. These guys are crazy because they decided to make a 3D first-person shooter version of Pong that was competitive. I was like, that was kind of a mic drop moment in that class. I was like, whoa, okay, sounds great. And there was a generosity of time at their studio. They dropped in a notch file that the students built. They couldn't travel, so they just filmed it and sent it back to me. And so they invested time with these students, probably like 2 hours twice a week. They were online with 5, 6 students, just asking questions and telling them how to fix things. I will say also, they're in this setup. We had no media server. There is a Touch Designer program that we nicknamed Not Disguise, and it actually did it. I mean, it doesn't do it reliably. It was crashing like crazy, but there's a Touch Designer project that ran this whole thing with the Vive tracker before they came up with the Mars system. Okay, so fast forward 2 years. This is a room that's being built right now at the university I teach in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. And not because I pushed for funding, not because I filled out a grant, but because some provost guy walked into a bunch of presentations in that room and was like, this is pretty cool. We should probably put this as a feature in the new building that we're doing. We're like, okay. And so we're going to get like a nice little wall there and some projection, and it's like a little immersive playground. Again, this isn't an initiative other than it steamrolled off of an investment of time by a bunch of people. So there's a bunch of people that were engaged with those students in different projects, and some of them are here. There's JT, there's Nick, there's Elbers. Elbers just like helped roll out a whole Touch Designer program that helped my students get up to speed. I didn't even know how to use Touch Designer 2 years ago, right? And there's other people on here that you should really know. And these are some of the students that jumped in with that. And again, I'm grateful, and it's kind of amazing. But part of it is it made a difference to a bunch of students that in that moment that it meant the world to them. They had nothing. They literally had nothing. They had no skills, and they got jobs out of this, right? And it didn't cost anybody a lot of money. It just cost them time. Now we all don't have two hours twice a week anymore, but it could be a lot less than that. We did that already. That's great. Okay. At the end of the day, though, I'm just a guide. We can all be. Maybe it's actually not about finding talent, but guiding them. Maybe talent, you need a guide. So we're going to do a little thing here. Before I forget, there's a bunch of people here that I will not the thing about giving credit to others is that there's a fear that I'm not going to give credit to enough people. And I'm sorry if I've missed you in that list that you've helped me out, so you can come yell at me later. But there are people here also trying to think about education in a different way. So we got Immersive HQ. Elbers is here. You can find him. There's an interesting thing going on in Lidditz. Academy of Live Technology, formerly Backstage, is moving into Lidditz. They broke ground, and they're doing a 4-year accredited college that does all of the things, meaning stage, lighting, technology, and all those wonderful things. If you need to know more about that, you can see me or fill out this form that I put. I'll give you in a minute. This is Mars Academy, David Bates' deal. And you already heard from the Pixatope folks that they've kind of doubled down on training and investing. You can go and see and talk to them. Framework Education is here, and I help lead that. I guess it's a committee. Are we a committee? All right, I'm a committee. And we're trying to find different ways to sort of fill this gap. If you want to scan that QR code, if you hate QR codes, don't scan it. But if you scan it, it will just take you to a place that you want to click things to know more about any of those things I mentioned, or tell us, hey, I've got a thing that I think can help with educating the next generation of people. Okay, I can't do this because I'm running out of time, but I do have a fun joke, which is no one likes pogo sticks. Pogo sticks are the minds of transportation. There was a whole setup about the three-legged stool, but you took it. Anyway, we'll just keep going. When are we getting to the 200 steps? Well, there was never 200. There's like 2 things. It's much harder to navigate this gap if we're lost. I'm an advisor to people that need advice. The hardest advising for college students are the ones that sit down in my office and they just stare at me. I'm like, why are you here? I don't know. Okay, what are we talking about? And they're like, well, I want to get a job. What kind of job do you want? I don't know. Great. We'll try to work on sort of some of your goals. But for us as professionals, we can get kind of lost and forget what our goals are, forget where we are, and we get spun out sometimes. And so I just wanted to do a little thing, if I may. Warning, incoming cheese. Okay, so this is Skyline chili. That's cheese on top. Skyline chili is just weird spaghetti with meat sauce on it that doesn't taste like meat sauce until you put cheese on it. Everything's better. So cheese means, for me, sincerity, right? So I'd like you to sort of take off your jadedness and put some cheese on top and be like, okay, I'm going to trust and just try to a couple of these things that Ben is going to ask. I'm going to talk about getting a compass. I'm going to talk about getting a map. And I'm going to talk about companies are people. Not in the same way. Not in the way you might think. I don't mean in a legal standing thing. I mean, companies are run by people who also can get lost and need a map and need a compass. All right. So, compass exercise. Can I get, where's my guys? There you go. Can you pass these pieces of paper out? You don't need to use the piece of paper if you don't want to. They're right there at the front of the stage. Go quick, go quick, go quick. All right. You can also use your computer. You can also use the theater of your mind, right? Maybe that's better for you to close your eyes. Sometimes when you're lost, you need a compass, and a compass needs a true north, right? A place that you can return to get yourself settled and out of every jam. For me, I guess you could call it an ethos, a mantra, maybe. It's definitely not a slogan. It's just something that feels like true, like beautiful and true to you, right? And for me, I kind of do this, and I have students do this. How do you want to be remembered, your biggest regret and your biggest win? And in the middle is a word or a phrase or a sentence. So I'll say, and I'll take you through my process for this. My biggest regret, I'm not going to talk about all the instances, but it's when I act out of arrogance, ego, or entitlement. Ugh. Right? My biggest wins come when I feel like I'm helping people and that I'm taking care of people. When I had a moment where I felt like I wanted, how do I want my kids to remember me when I'm gone? I don't want to be morbid, but like you think about these things when you're 47 and you've got 3 teenagers, you're like, how do you want to be remembered? At first it was like, well, they're going to remember me because I'm not there, because I'm on tour and doing business. So I tried to fix that. So for me, it was kindness. Like, I want to be the kindest dad person that they know. I take that into my classroom. I try to do this. It also means I've absolutely failed at this horrifically, damaged people. But it doesn't mean like, well, I guess I'm a jerk, right? I say, actually, I want to be kinder. I'm going to be kind. So that's my true north. There's another example here. This is my son, Ezra. Is Soren in here? I don't think he is. My son Ezra, he's a helper. Like, he really gets satisfied. That's why he's a mechanic. I want to help you fix things. I want to help you fix things. And so he gets down on his hands and knees and gets grimy and helps people with their cars. He loves it. People bring their cars to my house, and they're disassembled in the driveway. And he's doing it for free, not because he likes machines. I think he likes machines, but I think he actually likes helping people more. So I would just ask you can use the paper if you want, or you can just think of it in your mind. But I would just encourage you to think about this sort of like true north thing for yourself. It's gotten me out of a lot of jams. And then I want to ask you about a map. And I kind of illustrated a map demonstration for me, which was, I'm going to just fast forward to here. Hold on. This is a demonstration of my relational map. Now, this isn't like my pyramid scheme or my LinkedIn or whatever. These are people that mean something to me because they were kind to me or I was kind to them. And I'll go back. And also, it occurs to me that a lot of us have forgotten what a map is, so I have one here. And we think maps are like, take me to In-N-Out Burger. Turn right, turn left, turn right, turn left. And we've forgotten that there's like things that are written down that are landmarks that you can navigate and get oriented to figure out where you want to go. So if I say, I've got this XR stage thing a rear projection screen device that's broken, but I think we could try to do something about it. How do I get there? Let me get on my map. Okay. Here's JT, here's Scott Miller, here's Nick Rivera. Okay, I'm going to call them. Here's Matt Ward. I don't know what to do about getting projectors. Matt's going to listen to me talk about things I don't know about, but he's still going to give me advice. And I can orient my problem on this map. And so the thing I'd ask you is, like, what's your relational map look like? And again, Framework does not want to be a networking society event. What I think we want to be is a friendship society based on helping and based on taking care of people. So if you would, on your little theater of your mind or your paper, just write down framework, and write that down on your thing. Hold on. And go, how did I get here? Who did I know to get here? How do I get to know them? Did they mean anything to me? So for me, I wrote down in my example here, I know Laura, I know JT, I know Nick Rivera, he'll be here tomorrow. And who do they know? Well, they know, I think I met Laura through the VMAs, but maybe through this guy Lee Lodge, but then JT, he knows Ryan, and you could make a really big freaking map for some of you, right? And I think it would be a really beautiful thing to hang on your wall and be like, these are my people. This is my LinkedIn, and I don't mean like LinkedIn, I mean like LinkedIn, right? Like LinkedIn. Like, these are the people I can call if I can't do a gig, or if I'm in trouble, or I need advice in my life, right? Those are my people. Okay, yeah, friendship. Friendship, that's me. That's what I think it is. Again, we talked about studying a course. So if you've got this map and you've got like your true north, you can kind of navigate and get to a job that maybe fits, or you can find the employees that you might imagine. But you got to orient yourself first, right? You got to orient yourself first, and those other things start to come into view as you're trying to do it. All right. Yeah, it's kind of like a relational lattice for growth. That's a very catchy phrase that I thought up late last night. And it's immensely valuable to those you're guiding. Letting someone use your map is generosity. Like, not everybody gets to use my map, right? I have to maybe trust you a little bit. I have to maybe be vulnerable a little bit, right? But I do have it. And so when I see a student that's like, oh my God, they reverse engineered an OP1. Hey, JT, you gotta check this guy out. I think there's something interesting here, right? Or they don't have enough money to go back to school. I think they need a job. Those are the things I'm talking about. Again, we talked about that. Oh, gratitude is worth a lot. One more exercise for you that you may or may not participate in. but I might involve some peer pressure on this one. This is a card I actually got from a real human, a real student, and I like to read it out loud, and I also like the fact that they misspelled grateful. Thank you for letting me use the notch dongles and taking me in as one of your students this semester. I've learned an immense amount from you, and I'm very grateful to have met you. Have a great summer, and I hope to continue to stay in touch. Sorry, I suck at writing cards. He doesn't really mean I suck at writing cards. What is he saying he sucks at? He says, I suck at being sincere, I think is what he's really saying. I think we could all be better about that. All right, time's too short to be cool. I'm more and more convinced of this. I'm really concerned coming out of COVID when you were like hunkered down and you call your friend and be like, I don't know if I can like get up tomorrow, or like somebody I know like passed away, that we kind of got rid of all the pretense. And I'm worried that we're not keeping that, right? Like there's something that we have to stay with, and that it's a heart matter. Tell someone what you mean to what you mean to them. On that map in the theater of your mind, there's somebody in there, and we're going to do it. I'm just going to do a little bit of peer pressure. Look at the person next to you. Say, I'm not going to go get a beer until I do what Ben tells me to do. You're laughing. You're not doing it. I'm watching you. Oh, that's thank you. I didn't do my drill. On your map, get your phone out. Think of a person that you have in your contacts that's meant something to you that's on that map, and just say, hey, thanks. Thanks for what you did for me. It could be it was a relational thing, it was a professional thing, it was that they were your teacher. I don't know. I don't need any more cards. If you're out there, don't send me a message. Send it to somebody else, right? And if you're even more daring, there's probably one that's a layup. Like it's like, oh, it's so-and-so. There's a second layer to that, is like, they would think I was stupid if I reached out and was sincere. Do that one. That's like the next level, right? And see what happens. That's all. So that's all I got today. And hopefully, yeah, I'm going to just leave it at Laura. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can do whatever you want. You can do Q&A. We can get out of here. It doesn't matter.
No, I think everybody can hold out on happy hour if there are any questions for Ben. Of course, he will be the first one at the bar if we trick this out properly, and you can ask him questions there.
Don't not send your text message. Did you hold your accountability partner accountable? Michael. Did you do it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Question. Sorry, thank you. For the education stuff, is there any information for anyone here? I mean, you've shown all of your passion and all of your interest in this, but for framework, is there a way for people to help, or is that for drink conversations?
Yes. I want to put it back up. For framework, I would say there's an initiative which is centered around, I'm going to let you talk about this.
Okay.
You talk about it with me. So for framework, we do a new student showcase, which Eric Alba so graciously kind of talked about.
Yeah.
That has really mattered. And we're trying to grow that, and we don't totally know all the things about it or what it really means, but we know we want to bring more people of a younger generation into sort of the fold, so to speak. So to take this organic thing that's becoming official and trying to get another generation involved, and I think it's safe to say we're open to ideas.
Yes. So initially, I'll just say this fall, we do outreach to educational institutions. We've been growing our list. We've expanded our list into the UK and Europe. We want to grow internationally. There is talent that needs us and a way to meet us, and so we try and make those introductions possible. We have the students apply, we put together the list and do mixers with companies in the US and Europe in the spring. So when we start outreach, we are looking for more educational institutions to bring in so we can meet more students and introduce them to this wonderful community.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes.
I wanted I wanted to ask you if you would make a comment or share your thoughts about the difference between training, education, and mentorship.
Oof. I think it goes back to Mark Rober. Anybody can go home right now and learn anything they want to. I think the hardest thing is to curate that well and show people what's relevant. I think it's a challenge as an instructor. So I do a mix of things. I'll say, like for my touch designer course, I give them Albert's platform. I'm just like, Albert does it better. Go do those tutorials, but bring your projects back and we're going to talk about them and we'll work on those projects in the room. I don't lecture. That's one of the things I don't. And I question that sometimes, but for me, I like to engage and hear what they're doing and talk about their process and why they're doing it, rather than stand up here and be like, okay, to do a Bezier keyframe, hit this button, and then render. It's like, that's the beauty of where we are right now, is those skills can be created at home in the dark or on a weekend. But what they can't get is how to navigate a problem. I think you talked about this too, which is a huge deal for any of us that are in education is getting them into co-working and team environments quickly. Because if they're just at home doing things on YouTube, they don't know how to work with other people. That's feedback I've gotten from industry about students that have come out to be like, they're dead once somebody else is in the room and they have to figure out how to do this together, right? That's a great use of a 4-year degree, I think, is to figure that part out.
It's kind of a leading question too, because I think part of our new talent program is we are taking students who have been through an education.
Mm-hmm.
We see all of our colleagues creating these incredible focused training programs, and I think Framework wants to position itself as a springboard for mentorship. We have a lot of experience in this room that can be shared. You don't always know the impact you have on someone just getting started in a quick conversation or participating in what you guys created during your project.
I mean, most of those people don't, I would say most, a lot of those people don't even understand that by telling me something or giving me advice on like a simple problem, like I don't know if Matt Ward knew that I was subbing out those projectors and he hooked me up with somebody at Epson, and that turned into a thing that then brought the other thing. And so that was, I don't know, a 30-minute conversation.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of impact that I really want you to be aware of, is that those interactions are important with one another, or also with students or people that want to be retrained. It could be just directing them, hey, you know what, this platform is really good, you should go use this, it's free. So.
Yeah, and it's not just for the students, right? It's for each other. This cross-disciplinary interaction that we create are the light bulb moments that allow us to see a new way we do our own work. So I think this is the point. We invite everyone to the bar and have some conversation time so that we can have those exchanges. Tomorrow we'll start just before 10 a.m. JT and I will be back to tell you a little bit about the day. Similar program structure as what you experienced today. And thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Do I hug?